if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Wonder if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Okay. It's on. I don't really have any viewers right now, but so I figured I'd start up my own video stream um, about investing in crypto, um, investing in stocks related to crypto. Um, this is just a test run, just to see, uh, what exactly it would look like. But stream is healthy. Please check the video resolution. This is why I'm running the test, because I don't know. Let's see here. It says something about the video resolution. Oop, I'm gonna do that. Stupid. That should be fun. I hope. I'm not really sure. Anyway. It's just not optimal. What are you talking about? Anyway, I figure I'm gonna have a stream at least once a day. My name's Tommy, by the way. Um, I'm making this video for the people who are just starting out in investing in stocks, investing in crypto. Um, I'm new, but fortunate thing is I like to read and do research. So I caught on pretty quick. Um, and I just want to basically give, you know, um, a general knowledge to those who don't necessarily have it. You know, um, I will have a live chat available, so I might have a certain topic that I talk about. Um, there might be a schedule. I might do it every Friday night, or like a weekend thing. Uh, you know, might even do it every night. I'm not really sure yet. Because crypto doesn't sleep. We know that. But anyway, I'm brand new, brand new to investing crypto. You know, I'm not one of these guys that's, you know, been in it for years on end, but I will say that I do believe that cryptocurrency is the, you know, my ticket to financial freedom. Um, you know, and I I know, you know, just by reading up on the, you know, the companies that are, and you know, the protocols and programs that are behind these assets we call cryptocurrency. Um, Reading up on what they do, I mean, some of the innovations that they have come up with are just second to none. You know, uh, and ultimately, decentralization is something that I will forever support. You know, um, decentralization is something that this country needs, something that the world needs. Um, you know, we're currently in a crisis. We're in a fight. There's a gap, gap, huge gap in you know, the financial world. And personally, my opinion is that, you know, you're either rich or you're poor. There's no in between. Um, there's the 1% and the 99%. And what cryptocurrency is doing is it's bridging that gap. It's bridging the gap between the 1% and the 99%. Cryptocurrency is going to create more millionaires and billionaires than any other era. Um, you know, and I'd love to say that, you know, you can get all the answers on the internet. I mean, you can, but if you're basing that off of YouTube videos and posts, Twitter, and Facebook, you know, basically going to end up down the rabbit hole. You got to do the research for yourself. Um, I know CoinMarketCap is a great place to start. Um, they basically list every asset that there is, and most of those assets have websites, explorers, um, you know, descriptions of what they do. Um, you know, and then you get into the website and it shows you partners and the white paper. Um, but ultimately, you got to do your own research. You got to do your own due diligence in order to, you know, um, find what it is that you want to invest in. Me personally, I invest in Bitcoin. It's not a huge part of my crypto portfolio. Um, you know, but I'm convinced. I mean, look at the trend line from the time it was created. Does nothing but go up. Yeah, it has, you know, serious setbacks. You know, but the stock market goes through corrections all the time. Now they're not as, you know, detrimental as 85 and 90%. But excuse me. Um, you know, but ultimately, Bitcoin has always come back, and each time it comes back stronger. Um, you know, cryptocurrency is it's going to be our way of stepping out from, you know, the centralized powers of the world, banks and banking conglomerates, and, you know, market manipulation, which is something that happens constantly. Now I know there's probably some manipulation in crypto too. I can't say that all manipulation is completely tamed. That would be impossible. Um, but what I can say is that there's no boss to the asset of Bitcoin. There's not a person you can call, you know, when something like that happens. There's no 800 number, as opposed to something like what happened with Robinhood and GameStop. You know, that right there is the perfect example of why we need decentralization in the financial world. These men on Reddit, they didn't do anything wrong or immoral. They found out that Melvin Hedge Fund, I think it was called, was shorting GameStop and among other stocks. And, they were like, you know what, we like GameStop. We like GameStop. I mean, you'd have to be a fool to think that GameStop wasn't going out of business. They were going out of business, but ultimately, you know, they were a dying trend. Brick and mortar is something that's dying out. Digital is the way to go these days. E-commerce, and GameStop was just not evolving with the times. So they said, well, they're shorting them. Well, shit, let's buy shares. Let's buy shares. Started at, I'll put $20 in, and I'll put $20 in, and I'll put $20 in, and before you knew it, a week later, they started gaining steam, and they started gaining, notoriety. Started gaining news attention. I mean, I remember watching GameStop go up to $60, and I was like, why? Why is it up right now? And I had people ask me, like, should we buy it? Should we buy it? And I'm like, dude, I don't think so. I mean, for what? At the time, I didn't know, about the Reddit group. I didn't know that they were basically squeezing, the short sell by Melvin Hedge Fund. But I mean, they were like, I think I'm gonna buy. I think I'm gonna buy. And when I looked at it, fundamental and technical analysis told me that GameStop was going out of business. And yet, here we are, months later, and they are still squeezing the life out of this short. Robinhood halts trading. They still do it, from what I hear, because I kind of jumped in late, and what I realized was that, they were limiting volume on certain trades. Market manipulation. And their excuse was, their how they get paid, the system of how they get paid, which was, I think it was called payment for order flow. So they don't really get a cut of what you give them. There's no fee, but they get paid to bring trades to these third-party brokers. Um, and yeah, Robinhood was a huge platform. But the majority, I think it was like 85% of Robinhood's clientele had $5,000 or less. Um, you know, in each account. There weren't many wealthy people investing on Robinhood. Uh, so their excuse was that because of their transaction system, they could not handle all the volume, which I find hard to believe because they still had, even before the all the volume on one stock or whatever the seven stocks were. Even before that, they have billions of users. You can't tell me that that it wasn't some type of market manipulation. Then when you look into it even deeper, Melvin Hedge Fund has a mother company. That mother company is called Capital LLC, who just so happens to be the company that um, also ushered in Robinhood. Robinhood was getting kickbacks, I believe, from what I read. They were receiving kickbacks from Capital LLC, and when Melvin Hedge Fund was getting shorted, Capital came to Robinhood and said, "Hey, listen, you gotta do something here." This is why they were, you know, um, in court and on trial because they were manipulating the market. You just can't do that. That right there is an example of why we need um, decentralization. Um, it's it's really it's really amazing when you think about it. Decentralization actually brings a lot of solutions to the table. Um, you know, we've been as a society, as the 99%, we've been losing um, a lot of privacy over the years. Um, and we always end up having to put our trust in something or someone, some institution, that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. I know people that are still recovering from the collapse of 2008. I know people who invested in financials their whole life and will never invest in a bank again because of 2008. And it just so happened that the following year, in 2009, is when they came up with the idea of Bitcoin and a decentralized, permissionless, frictionless, and trustless application to the current worldwide problem of currency, investing, and financials. And of course, it was shut down. It's still getting shut down. Yeah, it's gained a lot of media attention, and there's, bigger players this time around. Everybody knows, if you've done your research, not everybody, if you've done your research, you know that Bitcoin operates in cycles. And there have been 3 full cycles so far. Those cycles each last 4 years. And they happen to coincide with the halving events. Um, and, you know, it seems like every cycle, from the general consensus I get, is that it's always like this. It's always, oh my God, it's different this time. It's a super cycle. It's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. But if there's another general consensus that I'm getting, is that, you know, It's never been like this before. These are all-time highs that Bitcoin is putting out, and when they're going up steadily, they're putting out new all-time highs on a daily basis. It's now become a realization because people are understanding what is happening. People are understanding, what has been going on. The funny thing is, I believe one of the guys from Melvin Hedge Fund or something like that, they went on a news interview, and in that news interview, they said that the government needed to, bail them out essentially, because what the people from Wall Street bets were doing, it was immoral and unethical. Now, let's just think about that for a second. Immoral and unethical because they started to buy shares in a dying company because they liked the company. And ultimately the share price rose. Well, what that did was each time that share price goes up, when you hold a short sale on a company, you're basically betting the price to go down. You're betting on the price to go down. You're essentially wanting the share price to go down to zero. You want them to go out of business. How is that ethical and moral? How is that, how is that a good thing to do? I'm not really sure. GameStop has I would say probably close to, over 1 million people that they employ between, executives and store workers, customer service, sales, whatever. How is that moral? So when you do it, when you put people out of business and gain money from it, it's okay, it's moral, it's ethical. But when the retail investor, the average Joe, when the retail investor does it to the billionaire hedge fund, it now becomes a problem, is what you're telling me. I don't understand. I really don't. I don't understand, why why people seem to think that that's, okay. They've been manipulating the market for decades now. Decades. And yet, nobody bats an eye. In 2008, there were people who went completely broke, watched their money go to zero as the market fell and financial system collapsed. Completely collapsed. Where was the government then? Where was our bailout? Where was our bailout? It never came. So we had to bail ourselves out. Human ingenuity and technology created Bitcoin. There have been multiple versions, but ultimately the laws of Bitcoin remain the same. It provides a peer-to-peer payment system. There's no middleman. No middleman at all. There's no bank. In a typical transaction, peer-to-peer transaction, what's called a peer-to-peer transaction is not a peer-to-peer transaction. You essentially told your bank that you need to pay this person. Well, that person has another bank. So you basically putting in for the transaction is contacting your bank, and your bank now has to contact your account and make sure that the money is in your account. On top of that, they have to contact that bank, and that bank has to verify that the money you are sending is in the account. Then your bank also has to verify that this account is the exact account that has to get paid. Blase, blase, blah. It goes on. 3 to 5 days later, you receive your money. I think the longest I've ever waited for a Bitcoin transaction was about 30 minutes. 30 minutes, which ultimately it's not ideal, but it's also not 3 to 5 days. You know, it's a quick, and don't let anybody tell you that it consumes a lot of energy, because that, my opinion, I think that's a lie. I think that's just a story they put out to bash Bitcoin. Um, does it take a lot of energy? Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Imagine how much energy it takes to power Christmas lights. You actually use more energy in running your Christmas lights than it is to run a full node on a desktop computer. Um, so don't let you know don't let society tell you that it's not efficient. Meanwhile, these are probably stories that are being put out by people who drive a car. Your car is inefficient. Um, yeah, it's totally separated from the regular financial system, which is why it constantly gets shut down, because it threatens the establishment. It is and it's new. It's new. And everybody's afraid of it because they're like, it's not even real money. It's made out of thin air. Ask yourself this: where did that 1.9 trillion dollar stimulus come from? I mean, that came out of thin air. And literally, they say that Bitcoin only has value because of the people who buy it, give it value. Okay, okay. So you're saying the people who believe in Bitcoin, who believe in the process of Bitcoin, who believe in the standard of Bitcoin, the regulation of Bitcoin, those people put value in Bitcoin. Those are people like you and me. But what backs a dollar? What gives a dollar value? Oh, right. Nothing. The word of the government. That's what gives the dollar value. And yet, since the birth of the Fed, which, in all honesty, was created to end inflation, to end depressions and recessions, and to um, bring financial wellness to everyone in the country. And literally years, not even a decade, years after the Fed's inception, this country experienced one of the worst depressions still to this day. And we've seen inflation. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't even slowed down. And that's what this is all about, man. We are going to have serious inflation, serious interest rates, and the dollar loses value every day. A dollar, way back when, I believe it was the 20s, maybe. They said the dollar. Oh, excuse me. They said the dollar had about as much value as I think $100 or maybe even $1,000 today. I want to say $100. Can you believe that? That's insane. It's insane. This is why I believe in decentralization, DeFi. You know, I don't approve of the current tactics of the financial system. I don't approve of how the government just continues to allow it to happen. These are supposed to be the people who make the most important decisions for us, and they consistently just take and take and take and take. Tell me, what does a mayor, senator, governor, what do they need to make 7 figures a year for? 7. 7 a year. What do they need that much money for? And it's not like they don't have any funding. They work for the government, so they get a lot of extra funding. Most of their benefits are, I mean, you wouldn't even imagine. What do they need that money for? And how much of that do they give back? They don't. This is why they're constantly dressed in these extravagant suits, you know, rolled around, chauffeured around in a stretch Escalade. So I have no viewers, which is quite all right. This was just a test anyway. But we're coming up on, 30 minutes of stream time. And, I just wanted to give it a test and let you guys know that I am more than likely going to be putting out probably a daily video. I'll probably pick a topic and, we'll go from there. I'll set up a live stream. It'll be random. But if you would like to talk about anything, or if you, want to have a Q&A session, we can do that. I really would enjoy some people that want to chime in. I love feedback, and I love people who want to educate me if I don't know something. But this was just a test stream, and just to see, what it would feel like. I think this is something that I can definitely do. Anyway, my name is Tommy. This is Let's Talk Investments, and I wish you guys nothing but the best. Have a good night.